JJ Barnes and you're watching another episode of Creative Writing Advice. I'm JJ, I am the author of How to Write a Story, which is out now on Amazon. I also have other books that have been released, fiction books, and a film and a TV show in production. I'm over here on YouTube bringing you the writing advice that I have learned over the years. I'm going to give it to you, hopefully help you become a better and more confident writer so we can all get more stories into the world, because lots of people want to be a writer, just don't know where to start. So that's why I'm here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make sure all your characters are distinct. This means every single person in your story is a unique individual. It's very easy when you're writing to kind of make everybody clones of you. They might want different things, they might be aggressive or soft, but basically they're just you in different moods. And that's because you know you, so how you respond to situations under different pressures, you're familiar with, so you write it. But we aren't all you and we aren't all me. So every single person on your page has to be their own person. Now, the reason you do this is to make your story more interesting. Conversations between people who are basically the same will be hard to follow because you won't necessarily know who's been talking, but also they're just not as interesting. Having multiple personalities in a conversation gives conflict, it makes it dynamic, it makes it interesting, and it will mean that when your audience is reading or watching your story, they're entertained. And that's the point. You want your story to be entertaining. And it's less entertaining if everybody is the same person. So how do you do it? How do you make sure all your people are different? Now, one of the techniques that I have always used is when I do my first draft, don't worry about it too much. Discover as you go along key factors about their personality, how they respond. Because your story might mean that you can't have that person be like that because you've written them into a situation where they need to behave a different way. So you have to let that happen, let that breathe. In your first draft, just write your characters. When you get to the end of your first draft, look at the people and figure out something about them. Something that is distinct and uniquely them, so that your audience can latch on to that. So for instance, when I wrote Emerald, Wren and the Coven of 7, obviously that is a coven of 7. So that is 7 main characters who you have to get to know very quickly. So when I got to the end of my story, I went back to the beginning. I worked out something I could give each character in the very early stages of meeting them that would define them. It would make them immediately distinct in my reader's head. Celeste, Christian. So she has a gold cross, and that means when she's nervous or anxious, it's something she holds, it's something she rubs. She gets comfort and support from that. So I dropped that in very quickly. Tig, bit of an alkie and a metalhead. Drinks whiskey, likes 5-finger death punch. So that in straight away. Maram, bit of a flirt, likes the men. Straight away. And it means that when you meet those characters again through the story, you can see, oh, I know that character, she's a Christian, I recognise that. And immediately you create a distinct individual in your audience's head, somebody that they have a picture of. And it's not just, oh, they could be anybody. That is a definite person, immediately. And then you think about how that personality is. What about that characterization do you pick up on? So for instance, Celeste, because she's a Christian, she's very thoughtful, she's very gentle, she's very loving. That is a key part of her personality. She wants to put good into the world, and that is something that drives her and motivates her. She cares about that as part of her faith. So that I made sure was present throughout the entire story. Tig, metalhead, drinking problem. The reason she is the way she is because of past pain. She has trauma in her history that shapes the way she responds, and it drives her to the angrier music and to suppressing her emotional pain with alcohol. So that is then present throughout the whole story and is pulled upon later. And when you get there, it explains the personality that she has now. By doing that, you can then follow from that initial dropping in of a personality type. You can follow it through, and anytime they speak, anytime they're in a scene, just check, read through your first draft and see if they are a consistent personality. Is that who they are? Are they that unique individual all the way through? And if they're not, it's your first draft. That's when you edit. But by dropping in those early seeds, you can then make sure that your audience recognizes who they are the whole way through. And a brilliant example of this being done in a fiction that you'll recognize probably more than my own work because it's significantly more popular is Lost. So Lost has a massive cast, obviously, multiple protagonists. Every episode is focusing on a different protagonist. It is a story that is, I am in awe of how many people they managed to make a protagonist in the series of Lost. But look at the very early episodes. You don't get the entire well of information about each person immediately. You get a nugget. You get that Shannon, bit of a princess, spoiled brat, likes to look pretty, and then you can carry that with you, so when you learn about her history, you understand how she got there. Locke, fascinating character, and at the beginning he's set up to be mysterious. You have the weird orange smile. They set him apart by making him a bit of a loner, making him mysterious. You don't get to know a lot about him, but that in and of itself sets him out as a distinct and unique character. So when you start to follow him and learn about him, it's you remember him. You have a thing in your mind that sets him apart, so you want to learn about him and follow him. And obviously Jack, the hero. You meet him, he's the one straight in helping people, he's sorting everything out. So you recognize him, you know that he is the hero of the story. As you get to know the characters, you find out they are more, obviously, than just these people. They are more than just the sort of nugget of information you get at the beginning. They are deep and rich and complicated, they have history, they are interesting. And it all grows and you all follow it through the story, through the flashback, through the character development. It's there. But by identifying very early on who your characters are, when you start following their story, you recognize them and you understand them. And that is very important. A technique you can use if you aren't sure that they are distinct and unique people and you want to make sure that they are, stop writing a story for a minute and stop and think. You can use it with pen and paper or just in your head, it doesn't really matter. Take those characters. So for me it would be my 7 witches. For Lost it would be a lot of people on an aeroplane. For you it could be whoever it is you're writing your story about. And in your mind, put them in a room, just a blank room, and then ask them a question. Ask them something complex, something that requires thought, not just what's your favorite food. Ask them about religion, ask them about politics, anything like that. Ask them that question and then work out how they would answer. Who is absolutely certain on their opinion? Who is steadfast, I am right, this is the truth. Everybody else is a bigot if they disagree with me, right? Who has that opinion? Who is the philosopher, the thoughtful one? Like, well, I think this for this reason, but I'm open to hearing alternative ideas and I'm interested in the debate. Who has no clue? Which of your characters is like, I don't know, I don't really care. They are all going to respond differently because they all have different histories, different personalities, different backgrounds, different beliefs. If you can have them in your mind respond to some complicated moral questions and political questions and religious questions, have them all, you will start to shape in your mind that unique personality. Who's aggressive, who's passive, who's dominant, who's thoughtful. And then once you know how they respond to something like that, you can have them respond to anything in a consistent way because that personality shape is there. It's ready for you. And it makes everybody interesting, and it's quite a fun little thing to do to develop the characters in your mind anyway. But it does help. My final piece of advice on how to make sure your characters are all distinct is look at their speech patterns. Your characters have to have slightly different ways of communicating that is representative of who they are and where they've come from. As I say, it doesn't have to be massive, but just enough that they are unique people. And it will make a massive difference, even if it feels like it won't, because it's a tiny difference. It will, because then they are a clear person and they read like a clear and unique person, and that matters. So thank you very much for watching my video about how to write distinct characters and why it matters. I hope it has been helpful. Talk to me, drop me a comment. What is your favourite multiple protagonist or ensemble cast where everybody is distinct and unique? Because I think if you see it and you understand it, you'll be able to replicate it more easily. Come and subscribe to this channel. If you subscribe, I can keep growing and I can keep bringing more writing advice to people, and it really helps me. So thank you very much. If you go to my website, jjbonds.co.uk, over there you will find links to my blog, my books, my film, my TV show, everything I'm doing. You can also enter the Siren Stories monthly free giveaway competition from there. For August, they are giving away a signed copy of my book, How to Write a Story. So enter that absolutely free. You'll be entered every month into the competition. And yeah, this month you could win a free copy of my book. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back again soon. Bye.